Anything else till 9 o'clock, no?
I need an executive session sometime.
Well,
For non-elected?
Yeah.
you wanna do this first? We got some tax roll corrections, and that's all I see.
Yeah, we get
The minutes are there too.
Yeah.
Did you sign that?
So one?
This is one.
Yeah.
Just one? Oh,
Mhm.
well, you,
Okay, I make a motion to approve this tax roll correction.
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded, we approve this tax roll correction, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carried.
How long, Nita? And include the newly elected?
Sure.
I'll make a motion, we go into executive session for non-elected personnel with the newly elected commissioners present for 10 minutes.
A second motion.
Been moved and seconded, we go into executive session for non-elected personnel. 10 minutes, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
First of all, thank you. We really appreciate the opportunity to just stop by and let you know what we're doing, plus kind of update all of you on some of the new programs that are available both at the state level and the local level. And I promise I'm not going to go through this and read it word for word.
You're not?
No.
Oh,
I
good.
promise I won't. There's a table of contents in the front there. The best thing for us to do is go to the summary, right here in the front on this item. And we kind of have two hats at Great Plains. One is the CDBG grant hat that we wear because we help, of course, we help the cities and counties with grant possibilities, applications. Plus, we also administrate those grants if we get them awarded. One of the things that we're doing right now is an electrical project for Stafford. In fact, we're just starting on that application. Which actually, that's a really good thing timing-wise, because even though the deadlines are, they're about 30 days away right now for this year, it's really a great time to get started for next year, because this year, you're probably aware of the fact that we have to meet low to moderate income requirements for grants like this. So because there is a new census this year, they are requesting a new survey for this next few years. The good news is, because there is a new census, when we do a new survey, it's good till the next census. So that'll stand us in good stead for the next few years. Faye Trent, who's also a certified administrator, I'm a certified administrator as the associate director. We went to Topeka just a couple of weeks ago for a meeting, and for your own info, it's probably not a bad time to apply for some grants. Just if you think you've got something going on, it may be worth doing. And the reason why is we're not sure exactly how much longer these funds will be available, because they come from HUD down to Commerce, and then Commerce has a point system that we all apply for those grants, and they score them, and then they get awarded. But every year we get a bit less, and this year we got significantly less as far as grant funds. Plus, the awards came later. Usually they come in January. This year they didn't come until April. So we're just a little worried that maybe this is a good time to do it, because we're not sure how much longer this is going to go on.
Didn't you work at Maxville on their project over there, SERV project, or what was City of Maxville a couple years ago?
I've got a summary in here, and they'll be on the summary. That was probably before my time.
Okay, that's something.
But if we go back here to the summary, it should be on the summary.
That's a little fine.
We have City of Maxville, CDBG, CI, you bet. That was December of 2002, yes. So that's clear toward the back. There's
I see, right there.
There's
What you
a
did,
short
right.
sheet right after that summary, just for Stafford County. So the answer is yes. And let's see what's more recent ones. St. John, we helped with the USDA grant in 2004. The rest are pretty much loan. And you can tell the difference. If you see CDBG in that list, that's actually a grant. And then if you see anything else but CDBG, they're actually business loans. But now that we're on that page, you can see there's been 2.7 million in loans and grants, 47 retained jobs, 30 created jobs in the last few years. So keep that in mind. If you're thinking even of ambulances, fire trucks, there's if you go one more page past, 2 pages past this summary sheet, we have a cheat sheet in here, as I call it, that's what CDBG covers as far as programs. And we have some counties that are thinking about replacing fire trucks. Actually, we're working on 3 fire trucks right now and 1 ambulance. And for the purposes of the survey, keep in mind that when we do the survey, it's the beneficiaries. So in other words, if you have a remote fire truck out in the county, we don't have to survey the whole county. We can do just the district that serves, that fire truck serves. Same thing is true with housing. If you're doing housing, you can zero right in on that part of the housing within a community. And that makes the survey a little easier to do, it makes the qualification better. By the way, the way that works is out of every 100 that are considered beneficiaries in a district, 60 of them have to respond to the survey. So we have to work hard to get 60% back. Out of those 60%, 51% have to be low to moderate income. So that means 31 out of 100 have to fit in that low to moderate income.
But
category.
in our area, I'm classified pretty.
And it varies from county to county, but right now, and Faye gets mad at me, she says, don't give a general number because it does vary a little bit, but for a family of 4, it's about 48,000. And it goes up and down by about 2,000 away from that, depending on the county. So that's where we're at ballpark-wise. There's another little part of CDBG, and that's the second paragraph there. It says CDBG ED. There is a loan part. And the good news about the loan part is it changed this year a little bit. Commerce has 2 programs. One is just a plain business loan up to $750,000, and it is 25% forgivable, 0% interest for 10 years. So that's kind of a nice thing when we're looking at loans for businesses to package. But the neat part of this, at least I think, and we've used it a couple times, is an infrastructure loan. So if you've got a business that is maybe on the edge of a town, you need to run water, sewer, electric out to that business, the CDBG ED loan lets you do 0% for 10 years, 75% forgivable. So it's almost like a grant.
Yeah.
In that
Wow.
it's 3/4 grant, 25% loan.
How much, what's the limit on that?
750,000.
750.
Significant.
So it's pretty good. And it does work out. Now, you can do one or the other, you can't do both. And you as a taxing entity have the ability then to say, okay, on behalf of the business, you're going to allow them to apply for that infrastructure loan. And then they would pay it back to pay for that infrastructure. And the state would then forgive 75% of it over that 10-year period. And you can have up to 2. The thing that changed this year also was if there's 2 prospective beneficiaries for that, they can share. So if you have let's say this business is out here and there's another one on the way that would benefit by the gas, sewer, water, whatever, electrical, then they can join in. So then that 25% can be shared by 2 tenants. So that's kind of a nice thing. They've made that a little better than it used to be over the years. And then we can't forget, as we package it, okay, we're kind of in the loan category now, put the loan hat on here. We try to package, whenever you get leads and we get calls, we try to package as best we can, whatever we can. We always encourage that they go to a bank first. We're not trying to compete with the bank at all. We're a partner to a bank. particularly if a bank says they will only do part of the loan, or the bank says they won't do it at all. Then we come in with the different funds that are available to help fund that. And the first thing we do is, Carolyn, of course, has the e-community, so we always recommend, that they think about e-community first. But then also, as part of that e-community, there's a separate loan fund from the same group, Network Kansas. Network Kansas helps Carolyn with e-community. And they have another thing called Startup Kansas, which is a $45,000 loan, which you can match with different funds. So that's a 60-40 match. So you have to provide 40% of the total loan, and Network Kansas will do up to $45,000 of that. So that's another possibility. And then at Great Plains, we have 4 different revolving loan funds that we can match with those. So we can come in, if there's nothing else, we can come in and help do that. So there's different opportunities here to package those loans differently. The good news is those funds are pretty stable right now. The only little bit of dark cloud is Great Plains, and you may know this, we have what we call a tax credit fund. We would sell or get donated tax credit, and that would go into a pool. And we were able to keep that pool over here and then loan it out if we have prospects. The governor's gotten rid of all the tax credit programs, including ours. So our rural business development tax credit is gone. We have about 1.2 million left in that fund. We obtained over the years, the last 6 years, about 2.4 million to put in that fund. We have about half of that left. So the good news is we have that money available as one of our revolving loan funds to loan out. Then the bad news is we won't be able to build that up unless that changes. Now we're working with, we have a state association and we have some other people in commerce that we work with. We're trying to figure out a way to get that back, because that became an essential part of getting money in a pool so that we can.
When did that go into effect?
When did it go into effect? Originally 6 years ago, about 2000.
I mean, but when did it go?
This year, when the governor got rid of changed the tax structure and got rid of the tax credits, all the tax credits that happened to sunset summer of this year, end of the fiscal year.
This year's
He didn't renew them. Actually, what he didn't do is, the way tax credits work, he has to put those in his budget. So what he did is he left them out of the budget, and by leaving them out of the budget, because they sunset, they're gone. Now there's 2 or 3 that survived that didn't sunset, that are still going on. But if we get to a 0 tax rate in Kansas, then tax credits won't mean anything. So even the 3 that survive will go away at some point. So what we're trying to do is work with the governor's office and say, is there another way we can do this? Is there another way we can help work to create a fund out there that allows us to loan to small business? Because the objective is to help rural small businesses. So we'll keep working on that. It's unfortunate that it went away, because a small part, 5% of that, we would work towards getting those sold and get them up to the state, and they would give us 5% back for operating expenses to help our organization, and that's gone away. That's one of several things we've lost in the past year or so. Good news, our website is really good now, and when we get a prospect, it's really easy to go to the website, and we can work with them directly, and our application, all the pieces of our app are on the website. So we're able to walk them through a checklist and then have them do the pieces, and they can email them, they can save them.
They'll mail back and forth anymore, you just do them.
You don't have to do the paper. If they want to do the paper, that's fine. They can print them out and fill them out by hand. It doesn't matter to us, but the good news is all of our information is there. We've got a good SBA loan calculator, because of course we do a lot of SBA loan, and people will ask questions about, well, how much is this going to cost? You can go right to our website and do that now. I told you about the CDBG short list on there. One brand new thing on the second page of that Stretch Your Funds, there is another program for downtown commercial rehab, and it can be a privately owned building. So there are some funds available for that. Not a lot this year. I hope they add to it next year because I'm afraid they're going to get a ton of applications for that. But you can actually apply for funds to renovate a downtown commercial building, a privately owned building. Then because there's so many of these alphabet soup things that change every year, we keep giving you a list of what these letters all stand for. Even we have trouble keeping track of them. So when you put this in your file drawer, know that if you see groups of letters somewhere, you may be able to go there and figure out what the group means. We give you a portfolio of all our 28 counties that we serve, so that you can keep track of what the other counties are doing. So that's what these 3 pages are for. We talked a little bit about the summary for Stafford County. One other thing we have in here, just as a reminder, it doesn't have anything to do with us, but as a member of Wild West Country, you're eligible for the casino's endowment fund that doesn't have anything to do with the casino. They actually put it out to the side and give it to a not-for-profit organization, that's Mariah. And it's available for tourism. So anything that might be related to tourism, whether it's signage or even street programs, they've even done rooftop on a bed and breakfast. So they're pretty liberal about handing out funds. And they get about $300,000 a year, so we just remind everyone, feel free to apply. They have a good website, you can go on there, and they have open applications every month of the year, as far as I know, so you can just go on there and apply. And Carolyn's well aware of that. Members of our organization, when I went through the list this year, and I didn't notice this last year, and I should have, you have an appointed official vacancy. So if you'd like to appoint one of yourselves, or if somebody doesn't really want to be appointed, the other two will appoint that person. There is no responsibility, major responsibility. What we do is we like to keep everybody on the list and keep you up to date. We'll email you information, invite you to our annual meeting, which one commissioner said he likes to come to because he gets a good steak dinner out of it. We'd welcome you appointing a commissioner. We do try to keep an appointed official from every county on the list. Again, there is no responsibility, huge responsibility. We'll just keep you up to date. There might be, if you attend a meeting or if you know some of these people and they ask you, would you be a member of the board of directors, they might ask you that, but that would be the only thing. And then that's different. If you're a director, we have a once-a-month board of directors meeting that's usually done by teleconference. So would you consider appointing one of yourselves as someone we can keep on the list? Sorry to put you on the spot.
Where are the meetings?
The annual meeting is the third Thursday of October, and that's the one we invite you to. You don't have to attend, and then we keep you up to date email-wise.
Is that in Dodge?
It is in Dodge. It is in Dodge.
Okay.
Okay, I'll make a motion to appoint Clayton Beverly.
Second that motion.
I will get even.
There's usually a railroad involved with this at some point.
That'll lead you on.
Did you vote?
There's not part of it.
No, we haven't voted yet. I was waiting for discussion.
Oh, we want discussion.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Just one here's comment.
He said he'd do it, that's the main thing.
All right.
I don't have a business card, but I can give you a mailing label.
Seconded, we appoint Clayton Grimmett. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried.
Why did you vote?
It might be 2-1.
Is it 2-1?
Make it 3-1.
3-1?
Does he have to
We can't do
abstain?
3-1.
He voted for himself.
People.
Thank you very much. We'll put you on the list.
Okay, and then you need
Where?
these signed. Correct.
And we, yes, we'd like you to consider continuing to be a member. By the way, this year, for the first year, Economic Development Administration, federal government is not funded, so we did not get our $61,000 grant from that for the first time ever. And the state, of course, no longer allows us to do tax credits, so we no longer get anything from that. So we truly are we've always been a charitable not-for-profit. Now we really are getting close to being truly charitable, and we're depending on these memberships. We haven't raised them in 10 years, which may not be a great idea, but it hasn't changed. It's based on per capita, 20 cents per capita times the population. So it has not changed at all. And we'd appreciate you considering that.
Well, it's been used in the county, I've even, over time, have used it too. It's a pretty good program.
So the city of Stafford's under, they're applying for their electrical or something?
Right. We're doing the CDBG for them. And then just so you know, I visit all the small communities, so does Faye. I'll be out today going around. I have a city packet, a reduced packet for the cities, and I talk mostly CDBG with the cities.
You might include Seward in your cities and stuff. I think
It-
I brought that up last year and it's still not.
It's not right. I didn't get that right from last year. Is it incorporated? Then we have
People in Radium are not going to, people in Seward are not going to be happy. Radium's on there and they're not.
Okay. And that's my fault, and I will do it up.
We need a motion.
Yeah. I'll make a motion.
Take care of it.
And
Take care of it. Yeah.
doesn't,
Yeah, I can get that.
it's not, I can look it up.
I'll make a motion, we go in agreement, or membership agreement with Great Plains Development Incorporated,
I say,
and payment of $873.
It's been moved and seconded, we accept the agreement with Great Plains Development. Pay our membership dues of $873. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion is carried.
Thank you very much. Anything that you can think of that's going on out in the cities or out in the county that we should all be talking to each of them about? Anything else that you can think of? Any projects?
they got big water projects in St. John, but I think they've already got the,
They've already gone here.
I think they've done it.
And survey-wise, in the city here, have they done it in the past where they might have qualified or not qualified? Are you aware at all? Did they? Recently had it. That's part of what we try to do is, we would try to preview the survey before we even go through and do it. I don't see anything on there that shows they might have, so.
I'll keep a copy of this.
One's yours, one's ours. Perfect, thank you. Anything else we could answer in the way of questions or other county-wise? Feel free, if you're thinking of something and you just want to talk it through, we'll be glad to talk it through at any point. If we get a phone call from you, we'll, if you're thinking about
One thing you did mention was, like the wind projects and transmission lines. Is this something you could help us with?
probably in that, I know almost exactly what all the other counties have done. They've all done it differently. In fact, I have a direct contract for the transmission lines too. Is it something you'd like to talk to the transmission line people?
Well, unless we got time to discuss all this.
You want to shorten it to something?
Well, what the issue is that it's a chicken and an egg thing. We can't get windmills here because we don't have transmission lines.
Right.
the transmission line people won't stop here or come through here because we don't have windmills.
Right.
So at some point, we need, and we've had Midwest Energy up here, and, you know, they sit here for 2 hours telling us how bad wind was, and then they go up to Ellsworth County and spend millions of dollars.
Up on the interstate there.
Outside of their trade area, developing wind farms and building transmission lines.
When
And
we
it's
had
very
the
frustrating.
When we had the original discussion, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, because I don't want to take all your time, but the east-west line, was it scheduled to come through here at one point?
I mean, the clean line?
From
the grain?
Spearville to like Missouri? or
St. Louis, south of St. Louis. They came through here,
They could
And
say
then-
it is.
and then we received a letter and said we're not being considered. And it was gonna go further south.
They came and met with us, and, you know, we asked them, well, we had 2 points. First of all, you know, if you come through, can we hook on? And they said no. And then we said, why don't you stop here instead of going all the way to Spearville? And basically, she said, you don't have any windmills, why would we stop here? Midwest Energy said he was not interested in spending any of their resources, and I'm not picking on Midwest, I think the other, in developing wind or transmission lines, and then we pointed out that he's doing exactly that outside of his trade area, and it didn't seem quite right.
But also they was our support, but to open up the right for them to have eminent domain and parts or where the line went. And
Clean Line wanted eminent domain. That's what they wanted from
across
us.
the fields and everything else.
And depending on the county, some counties are really negotiated. I mean, everything from roads to substations to you name it, they've been pretty.
Well, our idea was that actually we weren't going to stop here, we were going to stop at Kinsley, so we put their substation at Kinsley, which hopefully would give us access, close enough that we could develop some wind in this part of the county. And save them, I don't know how many.
It's come in once.
Because it's like $5 million
It's
a
come up in
mile,
once,
something
isn't
like
it?
that.
Well, with your permission, I'd like, there's a couple of transmission line people that may be able to shed some light on this.
I mean, it looks like our best alternative is to build our own transmission line to Spearville.
Let me make a contact that I'll have him give you a call. They're the people that did the dog leg line down south, ITC and that did the dog leg south through Kiowa County over to Wichita and then down to Oklahoma.
Is that good?
It's the Y connection.
Right, but since he doesn't have a stake in this, but he knows all the players, he might be kind enough to just give you some advice on where to go and what to
You
do.
know, I just hate to let the ball drop, but
I read-
worked so hard here the last couple of
Gave
years.
that paper that they, this line built through Pawnee County, I think.
It's already done, yeah.
But they said the wind towers are kind of on hold right now as far as in Pawnee County. I didn't get to read the whole article, but I seen that much, but so. They, maybe they're working, they're thinking about getting windmills up there, and then city said it's on hold, so.
Part of this has to do with the tax credits expiring at the federal level, which I'm trying not to be political here, but Pompeo and Hill's Camp are dead set against. Moran and Roberts are supporting. So we're trying hard to figure out who's on first with that and what's going to happen, because that'll affect Hutchinson
Yeah,
and
Reno
Siemens.
County, of course, they got it's going through there, and they've got Siemens down there.
Yeah, that will affect future development, but our issue isn't really at that point yet. Our issue is, and I remember talking to one of the commissioners in Pawnee County, she was real excited about that line going through. Problem is they have the same issue that we had with Clean Line. It costs so much money to have a substation or to hook up to these lines that they are only willing to do it in one spot. That's why the whole world's going to Spearville. And just because the line goes through your county doesn't really give you a, and that's what Pawnee County is facing right now. Now, maybe they've got an agreement that I'm not aware of, that would be great. But we're frustrated because another thing is this line that goes here just to the west of St. John goes down Pratt County down to Medicine Lodge, goes right in front of my house. We're told that it doesn't have any room on it, and yet Pratt County's developing a wind farm right now that by everything I can figure out is hooking right into that line. The same line that goes through us that doesn't have capacity miraculously has it when it crosses the county line. So we're not being told the truth. Or we're not being told the whole truth, I should
Let
say.
me see if I can get someone that doesn't have a stake in the game
That'd be good.
to just
That
call
would
you,
be great.
because if they don't have a
Yeah,
stake in
yeah,
the game,
absolutely.
they're gonna talk out loud, they're gonna know all the players. He would be much more knowledgeable than I ever
be great.
could be. And I'll just have him could I have him give you a call and just chat with you?
Love to visit with them, absolutely.
His name is Kim Goodnight, so I'll have him give you a call. And he's from ITC, and they're the ones that did the Spearville to South Kiowa County and Cross.
Okay.
And he's located out of Dodge, so I know I can go right to him and say, hey, help us understand the process and who the players are and what's happened so far, because he'll know why they've made some of their decisions.
Okay.
Oil and gas, any questions or thoughts about oil and gas at all? There's a lot going on depending on the county, and not anything going on at all depending on the county too.
It's mostly in the southern part of the county, I think, where they're,
Does a shale come up? in
yeah,
the southern
it
part
comes
of
up
it?
this way on this end.
And I've been told they're staying right now in the easy parts of the center of the shale, and then they're slowly developing the outer parts. So do you have test wells being drilled at all, or is it mostly just leases being signed?
Well, yeah,
Option?
they lease, basically, it's leased in part,
Okay.
south part of the county, I think, right now.
And if you get into questions or thoughts or problems about housing, any of those things, let me know, because there are some counties are really grappling with it
That's what I've heard.
big time. Some are just starting to grapple with it, but we may be able to help in that some of the small motels that have not been done in years have been renovated and are open, or RV parks have borrowed some money and expanded. So if we can help with any of that, if you just let us know, we'll be glad to contact you. Work with whomever, because you may get some spillover with the housing. We're told that the housing is such an issue that a lot of the neighboring counties are getting inquiries and buy-ups and things.
It's a long-term project, isn't it?
Depending on the leases, it could be anywhere from 5 to 15 years,
Sure.
depending on the areas, the depth, the availability. So just holler at us.
I know some of the counties hurried up and they did a zoning policy. Of course, we have one in place, so.
Is ours address that one of those issues?
What, the zone policy?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I've got one county where the little town, they sunk a well right on the edge of town and said, hi, we're gonna go underneath the entire city and lease the entire city. So they end up doing little tiny leases for all of the residents, and a lease with the city. And
Hard to get that
See, I
put
get
together with it.
1/320th.
and then some of them are getting just tiny little amounts of money.
Geez,
It's a lot of work.
I think Lisa
Yeah.
must be the best person
If
for
there's
you.
anything we can
Tell
help
you.
with, or you need me to come back and meet on a specific topic, just let us know.
Carolyn's fully aware of everything you got, everything you offer, right? You work with her.
Everything, we do everything with her, so we always work with her.
Okay.
I see Patty Richardson still on.
Patty's getting close to retirement. I think she's really close. She may do it this year. As she and I talk, she's way past retirement at this point. And she's gonna, she needs to retire.
She's supposed to keep going and
She's
going.
supposed to keep going.
Enjoy
And
this.
she's a wealth of information for us, particularly when it comes to putting loan packages together.
Yeah.
She can just do it out of her head, so. Thank you very much.
Okay, Bob, thank you.
Appreciate it. And you will get an email from us. But it'll be good. It'll be good.
It might go into spam.
You'll have to pull it out of spam at least once to get it to be in the right place. I promise it won't be spam, yeah.
That's fine.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
You probably have a copy of that. I brought that the last time that we met. If that, I think just having something for the county, the courthouse here would be nice for the employees. So at least we give them some general direction, whether they're read it or whether they don't, at least we've kind of fulfilled our responsibility to give them some general tree direction before the event. If you would like to have me visit with the cities to see if they want to, the ones that have city meetings, St. John's, Maxville, and Stafford, that have council meetings, that might want to at least look at it. And if they want to do anything, that's fine. If they don't think it's necessary, that's fine too.
Well, you don't know what's necessary until it happens.
Yeah, you know, we met with an LAPC meeting, and we visited a little bit about this also. And the thing is that the folks that dabble in drugs are mixing things that they've never mixed before, and they just don't give this sense of euphoria, simply that anymore. They do some rather crazy things like chop your best friend's head off or something, instead of just having a good time and passing out.
That's right.
So the sheriff kind of shared some of the information on some of the odd things that folks are mixing and putting into their bodies. It's rather odd.
Okay, so we need to adopt one, and unfortunately, we're gonna have to rescind the standard operating guideline number 112 in regards to the use of the fire station for personal use.
Okay.
So should we do those together or separate? Okay, I'll make the motion, we adopt standard operation guideline 113 in regards to dangerous subjects.
Second.
And moved and seconded. Moved and seconded that we accept, what do you call this, a policy?
Just standard operation guideline.
Standard operating guideline policy procedure, SOG 113, for dangerous subjects. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Just initial for top.
And the reason being is that on this, the use of the fire station, for personal vehicles, this came from Carl, and in many cases, the Court of Tax Appeals had denied exemption when facilities are no longer used exclusively for exempt purposes. So if we keep this, then we got to put the fire station on the tax rolls.
You want to do that? Well, that makes sense.
I'll make a motion that we rescind standard operation guideline 112, which is a policy of using the fire station for personal use.
I second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we repeal standard operating guideline 112. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
What about line 11?
And they pay taxes.
Just a,
I think it's probably just as kind of a thing, like too, but they start to get this kind of, it says field doesn't allow them to use it down there. For a while I used to, they don't use it kind of shop anymore.
just some significant calls. We had a fatality accident on Highway 281 yesterday. We assisted Pratt with the out-of-town transfer. We do that periodically with EMS. We'll, if we have enough units available, and that was per your direction, and as long as that's the same, I'll continue to do that. When we have available ambulances, we'll help them out. They had 2 on the road already going to Wichita and needed to transfer a 3rd, and so we helped them in that regard. Also, we help the city, and we do that when they have something wildland-wise. Here in St. John, they had some hay bales on fire, and our equipment's better suited for that, and so we assisted in that regard. same volunteer firefighters, so it's no big thing, just to keep you abreast of what's going on. I attended the emergency management conference in Topeka. They talked about a lot of different things, the drought, and Joplin fellow that was the emergency manager there shared some information on that. They talked about a lot about their the emergency operations plan is electronic, and what we probably need to do at least is to maybe schedule about a 30-minute session where I could show you what that is, because that's where everybody in the state puts their information. So, you know, I'm not expecting you guys to read all that, but that is where we plug in our plan at. And so if we had something, you at least need to know that's where our plan is. And we'll try to keep it as simple. There's a lot of, it gets rather lengthy, but we'll try to keep it as boiled down to just the main things as much as we can. We did have the LAPC meeting, that was last week. Let's see. We had one of our extrication tools that was damaged during training. Those things are extremely expensive to fix. The problem when you do a lot of the specialty things, and we have a fire chief meeting tonight, we have a quarterly one. The problem when you do some of the specialty things is folks aren't used to utilizing the tools near as often. There's a lot of metal on new vehicles that our tools aren't going to touch them. Well, let me spin it back up. We have some new ones over at Stafford that we put on the unit that we specifically designed for rescue. But we've had a kind of a mindset that everybody needs to do everything. So everybody needs a little bit of rescue tools here and there, and in practically every station, but not every station, but a lot of stations. That's not a very efficient way to operate it, but I personally can't change that mindset. and the tools are in place. Well, the problem is that you don't have a good feel for, and I don't say knowledge, but because things change all the time but you got to know when you got to stop, and that's even in training. You got to know when you got to know when not to even do it at all. And you got to know when to stop if you're stressing the tool too much, because they're extremely expensive. And I'm going to visit with them tonight and kind of get some direction and try to. It is complicated though, because we don't have any guarantees with volunteers that this station is able to always respond. So having some redundancy is necessary, but just not too much. And that's kind of like even with fire trucks. If you can keep them quality but a minimum, and then share with your neighbors, and we do that as often as possible, and share with the cities, then you don't have to have so much redundancy built up that it ends up in costing you much more than what it would if you can streamline operations. So I'm not doing anything with this tool until I come back and talk to you next week.
This damage happened during training?
Yes.
Why?
Pardon?
Why?
I assumed that they tried to cut some metal that it couldn't.
I mean, isn't that the purpose of training, so you know what to cut and what not? And isn't there somebody there that knows the right proper way to do this?
Well, I wasn't there, so I'm not going to criticize, and it could have been the tool, but we need to know that, and we need to ratchet back. You don't need to practice everything. Some things, if it was on an accident, I wouldn't have probably been near as upset, but the fact that it was in training, but again, I wasn't there, so I don't want to pass judgment, but we do need to try as much as we can not to damage stuff. And it wasn't intentional, but it happened. So I'll visit tonight and just kind of get an idea from the chiefs, how maybe we could, whether we just need to get more training for the folks. But that takes time, and I don't know how much more time folks want to give as a volunteer to stay up to a level of training to know. Specialty training is, you know, even paid departments, that's their job, full-time, streamline specialty things into a certain number of people. Just because of this. It's complicated to know all the different kinds of metals and everything that come out. And then you have hazmat crews that, and I purposely don't get involved too deeply with hazmat because we don't have the time to become experts in hazmat.
No, but if you got a tool and you're training to use it, somebody that should be there that's qualified to use it, to train the people that are being trained. That's extremely frustrating.
No, I don't.
And to
I
say,
don't
well, we
disagree.
don't need this redundancy, or we need more training, that neither one of those are relevant here. You just didn't have the right people training the right people, or whatever. You know, I mean, it wasn't the fact that you had too many tools that was a problem, and it wasn't the fact that you had lack of training. It was during training. That's just extremely frustrating.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree. I don't disagree.
I mean, I don't know the solution to that, but that's what we need to be addressing, not that we have too many fire trucks or too many jaws of life.
Well, but I'm gonna step in there. If you wanna have tools in many places, I can tell you how much training you're gonna need, but you better get your pocketbook out. Because they're not gonna do that much training for free. That's all I can say about that. I mean, it does take a lot of training. And in order to, you know, the paid departments, they put hundreds of hours into training.
Well, I understand what you're saying, and I appreciate what you're
Things
saying. I'm sure you're
change.
right.
It's complicated. I mean, it's not simple stuff.
Right. You know,
Well, it's a tool that's not used once every 6 months,
Yes, probably so. And
or maybe once a year.
like, I don't think they used it yesterday on the call up north, but,
Was that in Stafford County?
but it's certainly necessary tools, but, if we can streamline maybe the number of places that we carry the specialty,
Right.
Right.
and we don't want to get people hurt either, so. We will have a fire chiefs meeting this evening, and we'll kind of talk about the EOP, but the tools too. And then if I could have an executive session meeting with the commissioners and the commissioner-elects for 10 minutes to visit about.
We're in our hospital, they're 9:30 here already. They're already here waiting at 9:30.
Can we wait?
Wait till after. Yep.
That's all right with you?
Yep. No, that's fine.
Let's do that.
Yep.
Yeah,
We'll
but
do
they're
that.
here, they had an appointment.
What time do you want to, you want to come back to at 10?
10.
Okay, that'll work. Okay.
Thank you, Steve.
Phil, what
Didn't
do
get
you
up?
got? What do you have?
I got a right-of-way agreement and bridge inspection stuff. Can you do this? I got things I don't do.
You're good with that all?
Yes.
Anything we need to
Good
know?
morning.
Morning.
He
No,
wants to
bridge,
buy.
the bridge
Well,
inspection,
Tara's up
same
there.
price it was 2 years
Well,
ago.
thanks.
He wants
Carol,
to,
here.
he wants to buy
The only
these.
thing is, we're doing millings up there instead of fine.
You may need to do the.
Let's visit with you about
Stop
that.
yours over there.
If you
Do you wanna
if
do
you got
Phil
time to
first?
come back?
What time, can you give me a call and I'll come back in? If you just call me on my cell phone, I'll see. I'm only a couple miles outside of town, but I need to go around.
Is it on that before? I just wondered if you had any more thoughts about the Hudson Road.
Yeah, we're working on it now. If you, give me a call
About
when you,
sealing it?
give me a call when you, yes.
And you'll come back in?
Yeah,
So I
just
don't
give me a
have
call.
to- okay,
Yeah,
got
just give
it.
me a call when you come, and I'll come back.
Good, okay. Hi,
Shuffling it around for you.
Hillary's back.
Greetings.
Greetings.
I
How
don't
are
know if
you?
that's good or bad, but I am back.
Even Todd.
Busy guy.
How are you?
Okay,
Well, what do you got for us?
got
Anything?
July's financials.
Yes.
There's the
Would you
board
like,
meeting minutes and the staff meeting.
would you like to go through this with us, or you just want to
You look good.
stumble through it on
Okay, you look good.
the board back stuff?
The income statement. I guess you have the balance sheet first. Total current assets for the month of July were $929,856. Our net property, plant, and equipment was $437,202, which makes total assets $1,367,058. Current liabilities were $523,377. Long-term liabilities $34,190. Fund balance $809,490, which brings total liability and fund to $1,367,057. On the income statement, our gross patient revenues were $223,895 for the month, which is down $26,000 from last month. Total net revenue is $342,910 for the month. Total operating expenses were $304,377,000, which is below prior month by $61,645. We had a net operating profit of $38,533 for the month, which results in a net profit of $39,243 for the month and $410,559 for the year to date, which is an increase in net income of $859,476 from last year.
You want to explain that a little bit? Would you like to basically tell us why you have so much more money, or why you have
Well,
a profit? Or
In
why it's different?
the actual is due to the no fund tax warrants
Okay.
in part.
We have to record that as an income. So although it's tax appropriations from you, you're paying the liability, because the money comes to us, the hospital, it's an income to the hospital, just like our normal tax appropriations are on a monthly basis. So if you look at line 21, $39,000 for the month. The prior month was $594. That's when we received the check for the $555,000. So that's why this year looks $391,000 profit. You got to take $555,000 out of that to get the actual true operations of the hospital. And then you would have to take the additional $475,000 tax appropriations out to get to the, without any subsidy from county money.
So you budgeted about $155,000 for salaries in your, actually $931, so you're under budget on that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you budgeted $161, and the employee benefits, you $232, you're over budget. What's the big,
Well, when we
Difference in there.
did the budget, we didn't know what the health insurance was gonna be. The health insurance is the largest part, as is capers.
well, I thought we had, I thought you went to a different company on the.
Well, we did, but we didn't know exactly what it was gonna cost us every month, nor did we know what capers was gonna cost
That's
us.
quite a bit more than that.
down from prior year, but
Oh, yeah, down, so it's half what prior year was.
and
Yeah,
for-
professional fees, that's what it is, in
that's all the contract labor. we
contract
have.
labor stuff, and it's over too.
Yep, we have contract labor, Mackenzie's got the
But
list.
your therapist, physical therapist and things like that.
Radiology, PT, OT,
And administration, got a little bit in county due to the audit.
So the professional fees is what's covering the emergency room and
PT.
PT and part-time nursing or contract nursing or something like that, whatever it's called.
All our contract labor.
Did you get a big raise?
No,
Darn,
sorry.
can't blame it on me.
No, our fee set.
What about the uncollected accounts? You got, you budgeted 52.5 is,
Provision for uncollectible accounts is a formula based on the payer mix. If you go to the next page, there's two pie graphs on there. The one on the left is the payer mix. And it's based on accounts receivable, so what people owe us. So the largest is Medicare at 37% and private pay is 36%. And I know that during the primary election, there were some people who were talking about the hospital to be self-sufficient monetarily. Well, critical access hospitals aren't particularly designed to be self-sufficient unless you only have Medicare. If you only have Medicare, Medicare will pay allowable costs. That doesn't cover all of the cost, but it covers a part of the cost. Unfortunately, Stafford County Hospital has 36% private pay. That's a huge private pay balance. And it is only 2% of the revenue. So we are carrying a lot of people who should have paid us who don't. Now, does that happen at most hospitals? It does. The proportion of Medicare to private pay at this hospital is a greater proportion than what I've seen at other places. We have it too. I mean, our private pay revenue is very small, but our private pay accounts receivable, which is what people owe us, is a little bit bigger. And that's just because people pay when they can, which is totally appropriate for them and their financial situation, but it does cause a strain on finances.
well, like I say, most hospitals have some tax support. I mean, whether it's.
Most
I think
critical access
Yeah, County County
hospitals.
6%, I think, or 6 mills, I mean, in Edwards County and all the
Right,
rest of the,
right.
they got a mill levy established each year for the hospitals.
Right. So if you look at this, the next page with the 4 graphs on it, what this is current revenue by payer for the month is the upper left hand. The second one down in the lower left hand is current revenue year to date. So based on revenue, we're a 65% Medicare hospital. Based on accounts receivable, which is what people owe us, we're only 37% Medicare. So we're having to do less work to get Medicare dollars in the door than we're having to do private pay or commercial's pretty much the same, than private pay. And you can see that compared to last year, we've had a slight swing, 3% swing from Medicare, 68% this year to, or last year to 65% this year. And these 2 graphs, just to show you, are basically they're time-sensitive graphs. So any one particular point in time is kind of irrelevant until you look at it in comparison to other points in time. And what you're looking for is a trend. Obviously, you want accounts receivable to continue to go down, and you don't want accounts receivable to continue to get bigger at older dates of service.
Is that happening?
No, we've done lots of cleanup in the office. If you look at the very bottom, the second page with the two graphs on it, this one, the second to last page. If you look at the very bottom, you'll see a percent down there. There's 41% is under 30 days. That's good. You want that over as high as you can get it. That means that everybody's paying within 30 days. The over 90 days, all the way to the right, is 36%. That's high. It's not outrageous. And if you look at it, most of it is over 180, and those dollars are all in private pay, for the most part. And that means that people are making payments. And we've either turned them over to collection agency and they're making payments through that process, or they're making payments to us that they set up ahead of time, and they're just smaller payments over time versus one lump sum that you would get from Medicare or the insurance. And I know, is that one claim that we talked about that Suzanne's working on, that VA claim? It's $12,000. There's one claim that we filed for VA. The VA says we have to bill it this way, and the rules and regulations for our hospital say we bill it this way, and the VA doesn't understand. I have no idea why they should figure this out. We've talked to everybody in the world, and we're now at the insurance commissioner level trying to figure out how to get the VA to pay us the claim they owe us for the services we provided. So it's strictly some codes on a piece of paper billing process.
But that's 12,000 all you got. That's
Right.
effectively just getting the right paperwork.
Right. And it's in the over 90 number because it's an older account.
Okay, on the last page, then, the numbers at the bottom of the page, those are total current,
Revenue,
right?
gross revenue. So remember, gross revenue is what we charge, net revenue is what we collect. For Medicare, it's pretty close to the same. For Medicaid, it's about, for our hospital, it's about 18 cents on the dollar. For every dollar we charge, we may get paid 18 cents for Medicaid.
This is total gross revenue, so prior year, this is basically saying just your total volume of business.
Right.
Prior year was 2,400,000, this year it's 170, so the revenue is down.
Right.
And then the next part of that is just the monthly part.
Right.
Doesn't have anything to do with accounts receivable.
That's just strictly revenue, what's booked.
So what I'm trying to get in my head then is what your accounts receivable are currently.
Accounts receivable currently, you can find that on the balance sheet or on that third piece of paper.
And the end of July, they were 469,000.
That's on this page.
On this graph, it's the AR balance here.
Oh, okay. Weren't we up to like 800 or 900,000 not very long ago?
Last year.
Did we just write those off, or did we
No, we've
collect?
been cleaning. Some of them got written off, but we've been cleaning. Sending them to collections appropriately. We've moved up the timeline for,
When you send it to collection, is it taken off of this
No.
sheet? No? It's still on here?
when it's written off as totally not collectible, it's taken off of here.
So nearly $500,000 has either been written off or collected.
Right. Which is why the cash balance at the end of July was $460,000.
Really?
It's not that high now because we've finished paying off the accounts payable, but the accounts payable is completely paid off. It's completely up to date.
Okay, in simplest terms, and your accounts payable are paid off, what's your account balance? After that's done?
It's 3,
300 something right now.
Really? That's good. That's lot better than mine.
I personally think that's damn good.
Well, I almost said that, but
Just throw it out
I'm just
there.
trying to absorb it, I'm trying to absorb all of this.
Yep.
That's not only because of the money, the tax money that was given me.
No, the tax money that was given to us paid accounts payable.
Paid them off, and they are cleaned up.
And they're
They're
We
clean.
did get our cost report settlement, which is some of that, 300,000.
Oh, yeah, okay. Which was substantially more than what,
Because they weren't
You
paying us
originally-
accurately throughout the year, so.
Yeah, it was more than we thought it was gonna be.
by a fair amount.
Yeah, it was 180,
188,
huh?
188.
188, we thought it was gonna be when we filed.
It was 199, and he thought it was gonna be 185.
Yes.
Originally, you thought it was gonna be 50.
Right. That's because the volumes went down. All things being equal, at the time we had the conversation, should have only been about 50. But volumes decline. When volumes decline, every person costs more money because your costs are semi-fixed in a hospital this size. Therefore, Medicare picks up a larger share.
So you have your bills paid, and you have $300,000 in there.
Right. So now McKinsey with the department heads and Todd is working on the budget for next year, an operating budget, not the budget for you guys, because that's already been done, but an operating budget. And they're also working on, we'll be working on a capital budget. So what are the things in the hospital that need to be replaced, have to, right now have to be replaced, and things that we can budget for, save for, and get back in line with replacing the equipment that needs to be replaced.
Do you have a capital improvement fund? Yeah, you may not have any money, but you have the ability to do that.
We have the ability to do it if we have some money to put in it.
You have a line for it.
Yeah, there's a line
They're
there.
lined out at zero.
Okay.
Okay, and that's what you're talking about, is moving some money into that and making that part of your budget.
Right.
Okay, understood.
And we're still working on some of the cost savings things that we talked about during the public meetings, and one of those that has come to pass is we have moved our supervising pharmacy from Hutch Regional to Pratt.
You got that done?
Yes, and that's going to be a significant savings. We haven't been doing it long enough to have a number for you, but I know we were paying $3,200 a month just for the privilege of having Hutch come out and tell us how to do the pharmacy, and Pratt's cheaper, aren't they, Henry? By quite a bit, and the medications and so forth are less money, and they're really friendly, a lot easier to work with. The med-surg supplies will be coming the 1st of November. Our part of that is ready. We're waiting for the company we've been using, which is Health Trust, to release us from that contract, and then we'll, and we're going back to VHA, and we're going to get it even cheaper because it's, and I don't know the verbiage for that. We're coming under you guys.
It's an affiliated program for
Yeah,
that.
yeah, so it will be a very good cost savings for us. Our physical therapist, we have our own physical therapist now. We were getting those services through Hutch, and we had been trying all along to figure out a way to hire our own because it will be less money. And then we received a letter from Hutch that they were going to cut us off from physical therapy first part of November, and that's all going to work out fine. We have everybody in place to do that. We have our own PT, and we're getting OT and speech through Pratt, I believe. So that's going to be some savings as well. So just a few of the things that we've been working on.
But after that, the savings part of it's pretty low. Pretty low.
Yeah, it's just maintaining, monitoring, maintaining, overtime,
So
staffing.
what's your overall view then? I guess I'm talking about Todd more than anybody. But
I think we'll always have to work hard at making sure we're getting, the best bang for our buck, whether it's with contracts with those guys or anybody else. We're pretty much staffed. Very seldom do we have to use the traveling agencies anymore. Nurses pick up shifts for other nurses, and we go from there. We want to be busier, obviously. We have been steady, but we are always going to be working for more ways to try and become busier.
Dr. Tamir is a wound care doctor, and he'd been coming out and from Cayman. And would bring, I mean, we were double booking people to see him, and then he sent us a letter and said that he wasn't going to be able to come anymore. And so in talking with him, the reason is he was swamped and he needed to hire a PA, and he wants to continue to come to Stafford. And through all of this is several conversations with him or his staff. They want to, there's a program where our nurses can become wound care nurses for very little expense and work under him and continue to have patients come to our hospital. I mean, things like that. The outpatient clinics that we've talked about, we struggle with that all the time, trying to figure out who to go after, you know. We've had mention of allergists. We'd like to see an allergist. We're just in the process of working on that kind of thing.
The podiatrist, we have one there.
Yeah, Dr. Cantor, the podiatrist, for health reasons had to leave, and a new podiatrist started September 5th, Dr. Hayward out of Wichita, so we're happy about that. We still have a cardiologist on board. That comes once a month.
So you do have some cardiologists that's coming out now?
One, yeah.
As far as the hospital itself, and what I'm hearing, you're at least on track and maybe better than what you had projected. Is that true?
Are we better than this time last year? I think so.
No, from what you were projecting in January and December, what we were telling the taxpayers,
Right,
this is
right.
what we hope we can accomplish.
Right.
You are there or better in simplest terms.
Right.
And you're like, through the rest of the year, you're gonna be able to stay on track
Should.
for that. You see nothing to derail us.
Coming into the busier season. So people go back to school and kids start touching one another and get sick, pass germs.
Well, you hate to say you're praying for flu season, but
Right, yeah, flu season's coming.
Hoping for a good one.
we've had two that weren't very good the last couple of years. So.
Don't pray people get sick, you just pray sick people come use your local hospital.
That's, yeah.
Very good.
Okay.
Keep up the good work.
Hi,
Hi.
since you guys are gonna be the newbies, do we need to have an orientation session for hospital and financing and all that fun stuff?
That'd be a good idea.
Okay. We'd be happy to do that. Since you guys know everything.
That's not really what you were saying.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, keep up the
Did
good
we
work.
just give you guys a call when we get a date figured out?
That's it. We'll get the very-
Nita, what do you have?
I'm Lisa.
I mean,
I have something just real short.
Do you need a name
We need
tag?
name tags.
Yeah, we
Name
need
tag.
name
We
tags.
do need name tags.
Mackenzie, Hillary.
Got too much going. You're having a busy day, Clayton.
He's aging.
Every day.
Welcome to my.
This really isn't that much, but I just, you guys will probably hear about it, so I just wanted to inform you. Secretary of Revenue, Nick Jordan, has authorized the state of Kansas to reimburse counties on overtime that they have acquired through this transition with the new movers system. So I don't know what we will have for our county. The way it's calculated is if you're in the computer, they have a way to know
How long you've been on?
yeah. And in our case, since we do other things besides just motor vehicle, I don't think, as far as Stafford County goes, we'll get anything.
We can't have a Christmas party on
No,
overtime.
I don't think. But I think it's a good thing that, you know, they recognize that the transition was very hard on some counties and overtime, so I just thought that was a good thing, so. That's it.
Steve,
See you out there.
Was
Wasn't that
Call
for
Philip. Call Philip.
Thank you.
You want to recess and call Philip, or you want to?
I thought Steve was out
He
there.
was,
All right.
for a moment.
I'll see if he goes, I don't see him at all.
You want this folder back, you said?
I don't even know what that is, that's from Joe.
But the information.
No, I got everything back on you. Oh, here's that.
Okay, thank you.
There's a copy of the letter that was sent to him. Okay.
Okay. So you want to,
Executive session, just about non-elected personnel, commissioners and commissioners, 10 minutes.
I'll make the motion, we go into executive session to discuss non-elected personnel with newly elected commissioners present for 10 minutes.
Second motion.
Been moved and seconded to go into executive session for 10 minutes. Non-elected. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I make a motion, we go back in, as I said, for another 10 minutes
Yeah.
to discuss non-elected personnel.
I'll second that motion.
Been moved and seconded, we go back into executive session for 10 more minutes. All in favor, say aye. Okay, we are in session. What do you got?
Right-of-way grant for Ideal Tech Systems. They're running 320 feet on Old 50. They're coming off Township Road going into that Verizon tower right there. No problem with
I make a motion, we approve the right-of-way grant for Idea Tech Systems.
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded, we approve the right-of-way grant for Idea Tech Systems. All in favor, say aye. Motion carried.
And then Kirk and Michael sent the agreement for the, it's time for the biannual inspections, bridge inspections. And it is the same price it was last time.
How many got inspected this time?
It's on the front there.
Let's see.
20, I think there's 25 FAS bridges and 78 off system. Of course, that's just structures that are 20 feet, about 20 feet. Because we have about 100 structures that are 20 feet long.
104 bridges, 109.50 each, huh? Of course, they sign off, then liability's on them, right?
Right.
What do they charge for a bridge?
$109.50 each, 104 bridges.
11,380.
We're actually, we're required to have
This is
this.
a mandate.
Yes,
Three.
you have to,
You're required to have
you have no
inspected.
choice, the feds. And the feds got pickier.
I was gonna say, and then the liability's on them too, if they inspect it
Yeah.
fast enough.
The feds got picky about it, and they just about pulled bridge money from the state. This all stemmed from that Minnesota.
Actually, that helps out, we need a bridge.
We were doing it, but the inspection process got all picky after that.
Okay, I'll make the motion that we allow the chairman to sign this agreement with engineering services for bridge and inventory and appraisal with Kirkland Michaels for the total price of $11,388, which consists of 104 bridges at $109.50 each.
I second the motion.
You expect me to repeat all that?
Don't have to, just,
Okay.
Howard
So
says
it's actually coming out of next year.
That's been moved and seconded, we accept the bid from Kirkland Michaels to inspect our bridges. All in favor, say aye.
aye.
Motion carried, where do I sign this?
Back page. This is the agreement.
That's what
This
we'll
is the
sign.
after the fact.
No, I think they're both just copy the same thing, aren't they?
They look-
No, they're not evidently.
That's,
No, yes, they are.
I thought they were.
Any bridges gonna be replacing?
We've got one over southeast of Stafford.
Well, we put that over there.
So we looked at this spring, isn't it? Or winter,
Yes.
whenever we were.
East-west road,
Yes.
I guess.
No, it's a north-south road, excuse me, it's on the
Yeah,
interstate.
it's our section.
What about that east-west one that we looked at? There was a plank bridge,
That's box.
Was that the one?
box bridge,
It was on the dirt road.
east-west road.
Well, there's a lot of structures on here. You couldn't have.
You don't remember that guy?
It was, all right, we came off the Stafford Road and went east. And we looked at that bridge, then went over to the corner where Roger was sitting in Reno County and I was still in Stafford County.
I think maybe
Then we
it was
went
in
north.
Missouri. I'm not sure.
Towards the Neola Road. And there was a larger bridge there.
It's just like a small box.
Oh,
culvert.
that's probably not even on the bridge report.
It's just a box culvert through there.
Is
One
that
one
this-
side it kind of broke in
Oh, I
on.
thought that's the one that they were worried about, it was a bus route and it was
There's no, yeah, that structure's fine. After we drug all the sand off of the sand click going down through the boards.
Yeah.
That was the biggest problem with that structure.
Oh, they were just, I see.
It made it rough to begin with, but then now we've got to get underneath the structure cleaned up because it's half blocked.
Big rain will take care of that.
Well, it's either that or, I don't know, I don't think the skid steer will go under it, so.
You haven't been
Not
to
that
do
I'm
this
remembering it would.
No, and so then
long handle shovel?
you do,
Oh, yeah, but that's gonna happen.
sometimes it's easier to pull the deck and pull the stringers and then reset them.
Fire-
Unfortunately, that's a constant problem right there because that's all that is sand.
Sure. I know about that.
And well, we've got another one over on the county line. On the Edwards County line. It's a steel structure over there, just the south of Lands. I don't know what that draw is. It's a draw, I believe.
That's what Dad calls it, the draw cord.
The draw cord, okay. Well, sounds good to me. Then you were asking about the Hudson Road?
Yeah, the road eastward.
Mm-hmm. We're actually hauling some millings up there. I got a hold of the state, and we got some millings worked out deal with them. So we're hauling some millings.
This is the road going to the oil field.
Yes.
That we were gonna change the speed limit, we talked about all these other issues. Best thing is to see that, that's what we're.
Well, we
trying
talked
to
about prime and sealant, but we can put millings down cheaper and not have to prime it. It'd be $30,000 just for the prime oil.
do. You don't, so once you get the milling down, you don't see that?
Yeah, we'll seal it
Oh, I
out.
see.
They'll give you a base then too.
Yes.
Okay.
And after I talked with the Urban salesman, oil salesman, he thought that was the best option. I mean, we couldn't find any soil to put in with that rock to make it a smooth surface to hold the rock together until we could get that pine on it. And it was just gnawing at me. We thought about hauling some from out here at Mansell's, but that stuff is just, it gets wet and you walk in that soil and the taller you get, the more it's wet. I mean, you actually increase in height. So we decided that wasn't the best stuff and just couldn't find anything, so then we came upon this, and those are real good buildings down here with big strips, so I called the
Where are you
state.
getting from?
Got them from the state for a real good price, so that's where we started hauling up there.
I mean, where are they coming from?
They come off of 50 Highway, I believe, is where they originally mailed them off of. But it's been several years. I think, yeah, they've been piled up there probably 4 or 5 years now.
I see. Good, wonderful.
So that's
If
where
you have
we're,
some extra loads, you can put them in the sewer.
You can put it on my
You knew
road.
that was there, didn't you?
You can put it on this, is a mile and a half.
You don't have a county road.
so hopefully
Right.
so hopefully we get all this done here before too much longer.
That's good, all right.
Because we still got striping to do and we're ready to do that, but we've got everybody busy trying to get this done before the 1st of October, because every experience that I've seen with oil trying to seal up to the 1st of October is not good. It causes a bleeding problem in the spring, and then lots of people that don't have a top pipeline, your hair's gone.
Well, it's nice to have one issue resolved, isn't it?
So, as soon as it gets sealed, it's resolved.
I mean, this issue, you know, we're
Oh,
closing
yeah,
it.
that's not even an issue anymore. That's just.
That's what I mean, it's got to resolve.
Some things you can't change.
Nor do you want to. Okay, that's good.
I seen a voucher from Great Bend Co-op for your fuel, is that down here or something, you get a bid from them, they bid the price or?
Well, I usually try to get 2 bids, and so Hample, it was between Hample and Great Bend Co-op. Co-ops in North End.
They bid it, that's why you got it.
Yeah, they're kind of a local, his local deals used to do Kansas, but they wouldn't hardly return the bid anymore. In fact, they don't return the bid anymore. And then a lot of theirs is E10. And quite honestly, we've run a little bit of E10 before, and the fuel mileage just is not as good. Yeah, when we bid fuel, we always have 2 bids. And amazingly, I mean, it's funny, Hample gets it for a long time, it seems like, and then every once in a while, some,
Trade back and forth.
yeah.
Okay. Are you gonna be able to work on certain, now that you don't have to wait, I mean, you can haul rock or whatever. What are your plans? You got any, just?
On the sewer road,
Yeah.
up there, well, the biggest issue up there is in that shelter belt.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I
It's
mean,
not the only issue.
it's, yeah, and then we made a deal with some guys for some dirt up there.
Okay.
And we've got about 300 loads of dirt we can haul. That's pretty decent soil.
So now we're hauling it back. We hauled it up.
Yeah, but this is,
We
we
take the bad stuff out and then bring the good stuff in. That's fine, that's good. And then you'll,
it's got a little more substance to it, I guess I
and
should
then
say.
you'll
It
put
will
some
hold
gravel
water.
or rock on it.
Yeah, and then, yes.
Okay.
But we drove it Friday. We had a little bit of moisture Friday, Thursday. And so we did it until Friday.
That helps a lot. It's carrying a lot of traffic now and it just gets speed up.
You know, it's busy
Almost
time,
overnight.
it's harvested.
Yeah.
There are a lot of guys moving corn.
That's my point.
And observing weight limits.
Yeah, they observe them on it. I'm sure that everybody's sleeping. As in. Sure. Okay, very good. That's all I need.
Yeah, we did, well, we got that stuff cleaned up. Now, with the first place on the rattlesnake, it's amazing how much that one rain worked that sand down. Did you see that? How much sand is already down in there? So there's a lot of sand moved down that ditch from town.
You're gonna have to clean out the end of the ditch again.
Yeah, I would say so.
I need to put my seal on these, then I'll take them down.
Okay.
Is that all right? You need it now.
No, that'd be fine.
City can pay for that.
And we were going to see, while we're up there, we're going to see the city has. Ask us to do
They paid for that.
that. Yes, they will.
The radio was talking about that. They have some money. Oh, did you have a chance?
I
to look at
took
that?
a look at that, and sometime this winter we'll move on.
Okay. I don't think it's a big issue, but it's just one of those deals, if you're up there, I think you could really help them out.
Somebody's been doing some work in there. I don't know who, if it's just the landowner or who, but somebody has been.
In the city or?
Well, back in the ditch.
Let's see. I don't know. Okay.
Yeah, I take it they're wanting all those trees and stuff taken out back behind
I would talk to Joanne before I,
there. Who?
Joanne, Gray. Works at the elevator.
Okay.
She's the city clerk, right?
Yeah. Or mayor, whatever, what are the?
No, Gary Gray is the mayor, Joanne
Joanne's for radium, didn't
Yeah, but Clark?
It is Clark.
she? Yeah, Clark.
Yeah, she's.
Yeah,
great.
Gray is her brother, yeah.
Anyhow, I talked to Joanne, she seems to know the most about everything that's going on.
She's got Lou's little house beside the.
Yeah, so she's the one,
Ah!
she's the most motivated.
Yeah, I'm sure she is.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they left on, they still have all the sand there, you see they were kind of covered in that, which is good.
Cover them up, make them look better, you mean, or?
Well, that sun just deteriorates that fiberglass bag.
Yeah, talk to Joanne, she can answer your questions.
Okay.
Did you talk to Neeland at all, or have you got that?
No, I haven't. Killing snakes other places.
Yeah, I assume that.
But yeah, I went and looked at it, I mean, that's not an issue. If he wants something there, certainly.
I can understand your point.
It would be pretty good size, but I don't have any, but I'll talk to him.
But I think in return, he's gonna let you come in and clean that ditch out.
Well, there's not much to clean out there, I mean, but
I don't know, but maybe, have you ever shot it?
3 times.
Okay, I assumed you had.
There is a foot of drop in a mile.
It's not much.
No, it's not much.
So what about the corner? If you clean up the corner and let the water flow easier there, can that help?
It's, the water's never gonna flow out real fast. I mean, this has been a problem
Forever.
for longer than me and you have been alive, I'm sure. But it's,
And some of the problem is on
When
downstream.
something dries-
A lot of the problem downstream.
yeah. But I mean, it just meanders up there and it just takes a long time. And I can understand their frustration, but it's just the way it is. I mean, unless you've been up there, and I think you had probably when the water was high, you can't believe there's that much water comes into that little town. And when it gets there in a hurry.
It's amazing.
I went through there at 7 o'clock and it was dry, and they called me back at 10 o'clock and said they were flooded, and I said, oh, you can't, but you know. I went back up there and they were, so.
Amazing. Hard to imagine we have that much rain.
But then it just bottlenecks up there. I mean, it's gotta go through that railroad trestle, and it's gotta go through the other pipes.
And then it bottlenecks there.
Yeah.
That bridge,
Yeah,
that
it
just
just,
even.
just finally meanders out of town to the north, and finally works its way to the northeast, but it's just a slow process. So, okay.
All right, thank you. You got more?
I do have one more thing.
Okay.
I'd like to call for an executive session for non-elected personnel,
How long?
10 minutes. I'd like to invite the elects to stay.
Okay, I'll make a motion, have a 10-minute executive session for non-elected personnel to include the newly elected commissioners.
I'll second that motion.
Been moved and seconded, we'll go into executive session for 10 minutes for non-elected personnel. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Hey, let's recess.
Recess?
You wanna wait and see if Joe's gonna call
She
you
won't
back?
let me.
Oh, I guess. We'll recess. He's gonna do a lot of editing. This afternoon.
Well, did you look at this, JD?
It's just for your information, I
It's in
guess.
It's just information I looked at last time.
There's nothing there to act on or discuss.
So just.
No, it's just,
All right, so I will call Paul Underwood about the hydraulic pressure that's coming up from the tunnel over there.
did you call anybody else about the sound system over
Yes, I
here?
did, and I was gonna ask you if you heard anything from
Who was it?
Todd Peach
From
Hutchinson.
company?
I don't know. I tried to call Basax.
basics.
Basics. It's an outgoing call only. We're busy. You'll have to call us back. This is an outgoing message. Never did get anybody to answer.
Talked to him a couple days later.
So,
What about a tree? Do they call it trees, trees?
What tree?
What is dead out front?
Mike was supposed to take care of that.
Okay.
Other than that,
Everything
that's
else?
it.
All right, we're adjourned.